Like you mentioned, today at 10 in the morning, the final NRC list was published. And as we know, about 1.9 million people are not on the list anymore. Now, this is a grave reduction from 4.1 million people who were not included on the list when it came out. The draft version came out in June, sometime June last year. Now, what this reduction really means is that this process seems to be rather arbitrary in its nature. I mean, the government let about 2 million people sit on the brink of fear, extreme insecurity, and many of them also had to undergo some sort of violent situations, and they didn't really know whether they are citizens of India or not citizens of India up till now, when some of them have been included in the list. So this entire process seems to be flawed in its way. India has had a national identification card for only last couple of years, and most of the people who are not on the list are those who belong to an extreme poor background, and most of them really do not have any sort of money to produce documents because of poor record keeping, or they're illiterate, or also because they lack the real money to sort of file a legal claim for their documents. So this move of the government has been sort of appreciated by the Modi supporters. And it is no surprise that majority of the people, like you mentioned, belong to a Muslim minority of the country. So currently we see that the region is full of security. We have the troops right on the ground, and we know for the fact that Indian government is really good in covering up the general situation of insecurity and fear among people. So we do see some sort of peace since troops are there on the ground. But we must know that this sort of decision of the government and coming out of the list has put a lot of resentment, and there's a rise in general insecurity of these people regarding their own future.
So, Avantika, we're talking about 1.9 million people. What will happen to them next?
So, for now, people whose names are not on the list will have about 120 days to file an appeal against their inclusion by giving some sort of a documentary evidence. These people can appeal to the specially formed courts, which are called foreigners' tribunals. They can also go to High Court or Supreme Court. But many experts have heavily contested the functioning of foreigner tribunals in India. Most of them have been called quite biased in the past. So basically, as of now, the future of 1.9 million people remains totally unclear. We do not have a treaty with Bangladesh, so we do not think that India can basically deport people to Bangladesh. However, what we do know is that the government has already detained thousands of people who have been suspected of being foreigners in temporary camps, which are housed in the state's prisons. Now, there are also reports that Modi's government is building an exclusive detention center which could hold up to about 3,000 people. For now, the future really doesn't seem very clear. But what we definitely see is that there's a rise in dismay, there is a rise in desperation, and this will definitely be the way for the next couple of weeks or even months as we go ahead.